The cool touch of the polished marble floor barely registered beneath Zara's silk slippers as she drifted through the jewel of the Sands boutique. Each step was a whisper, a silent testament to the rarefied air of Riyadh's financial district. The scent of exotic oud mingled with expensive perfume, clinging to the heavy velvet drapes and the crystalline glitter of chandeliers that dripped like frozen waterfalls from the impossibly high ceiling. She paused by a display of shimmering fabrics, her reflection a slender silhouette in the polished glass, a perfectly tailored vision of the boutique's curated luxury. Yet, an unwelcome prickle of unease disturbed her polished composure. Her gaze, sharp and assessing, landed on a figure near the far wall. It was Fatima, a quiet woman, a muted presence in the flamboyant spectacle of wealth. Fatima's simple jilbab and chiffon headscarf were a stark contrast to the opulent surrounds, a quiet protest against the gleaming excesses that defined this space. Her posture, though humble, held an unwavering dignity, a quiet defiance that Zara found profoundly irritating. Fatima's eyes, ancient and deep, held a history Zara could not comprehend, a silent narrative of enduring strength. She stood there, a pearl on velvet, unnoticed by the rustling silk and hushed laughter of the other patrons, a figure marooned in a sea of glittering indifference. A sigh, almost imperceptible, escaped Zara's lips, a subtle ripple in the otherwise serene surface of her practiced disdain. This woman, this quiet anomaly, disrupted the careful illusion of exclusivity, a discordant note in a symphony of aspiration. The air thickened with unspoken judgments, a silent assessment of perceived worth. Suddenly, a voice, smooth as spun gold yet edged with a subtle condescension, broke through the hushed grandeur. "Why are you sitting here so completely alone, my dear?" A profound sense of purpose anchored Fatima's thoughts, a gentle current guiding her through the bustling souk, each step deliberate in the vibrant tapestry of the city. The air, thick with spices and oud, did little to distract her from the luminous event now casting its glow upon her spirit. Layla was coming home, not merely for a visit, but to claim an accolade that resonated with their heritage and her daughter's exceptional spirit. The Golden Falcon Award was more than a trophy. It testified to years of effort, countless hours of commitment, and quiet sacrifices made far from family. Fatima felt warmth spread through her chest, a mother's fierce, unwavering joy bubbling to the surface, pure and uncontainable. Her mission today transcended shopping. It was a pilgrimage of the heart, a meticulous quest for an attire befitting such an occasion. It had to be a designer kaftan, or only such a garment could articulate the depth of her emotion and the significance of Layla's achievement. A simple dress, however beautiful, would lack the majesty, cultural resonance, and craftsmanship this celebration demanded. The kaftan, with its flowing lines and intricate embellishments, spoke a language of tradition, elegance, and respect, a silent poem in silk and gold. Fatima envisioned something that draped with regal fluidity, modest yet commanding through sophistication and artistry. She wanted a design that married contemporary flair with timeless tradition, complementing rather than overshadowing Layla's brilliance. The fabric needed a luminous quality, shimmering silk or brocade with subtle metallic threads, catching light like desert sands. The embroidery should be delicate yet distinctive, perhaps with ancient arabesques or the swoop of a falcon's wing, a nod to the award itself. Beyond aesthetics, the kaftan represented an act of love, a tangible expression of a mother's devotion. Each stitch, bead, and chosen hue would hold her pride, hopes, and boundless affection. It was her public acknowledgement of Layla's arduous journey, the doubts overcome, the relentless pursuit of excellence culminating in this return. The garment would be more than clothing. It would be a mantle of celebration, a wearable testament to their bond, a silent cheer made manifest. Fatima desired a kaftan that would make her feel truly present, embodying the spirit of the celebration, her dignity and joy radiating outward. She imagined standing beside Layla, both women emanating quiet strength and grace, a harmonious blend of past and future, tradition and trailblazing achievement. The perfect kaftan would speak volumes without a word, conveying enduring love, unwavering support, and overflowing pride. The anticipation of Layla's embrace, the glint of the Golden Award, and the feel of chosen fabric against her skin mingled in Fatima's mind, creating a vivid tableau of impending joy. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her soul, that the right kaftan awaited her, ready to be discovered, ready to play its part in this unforgettable homecoming. Her resolve solidified, drawing her deeper into the labyrinthine beauty of the market, each turn holding the promise of discovery. The opulent space, still reeling from Layla's unexpected entrance, seemed to hold its breath. A strained quiet fell, every glittering surface reflecting nascent unease. Samira, the boutique manager, moved forward, her designer kaftan rustling as she approached Fatima. Her steps, usually assured, bore a faint tremor, a forced composure beneath Layla's fierce gaze. Samira's eyes, long practiced in disdain, narrowed into a studied authority as they swept over Fatima's simple jilbab, unadorned chiffon headscarf and well-worn shoes, each item a quiet testament to a life without excess. A thin, brittle smile touched Samira's lips, a sharp contrast to the tightening line of Layla's mouth. "My dearest madam," Samira began, voice low and carefully modulated, the politeness barely masking condescension. "While we appreciate your visit to the Jewel of the Sands, a boutique of unparalleled distinction, I must suggest that perhaps you might discover options more suited to your practical needs on the lower levels of this establishment. Our collection here, you see, caters to a very specific clientele, those whose financial comfort allows for a certain freedom of choice." The words hovered like poison, their implication of Fatima's inadequacy searing the air. It was a calculated insult, reckless with Layla standing sentinel, her presence a seismic tremor beneath the marble. Fatima, used to such dismissals, felt a fleeting blush of shame, not for herself, but for the cruelty on display. She met Samira's eyes with unwavering dignity, a silent strength that resisted the manager's petty arrogance. Layla's hand, subtly clenched at her side, trembled almost imperceptibly, a raw testament to the battle within her, the urge to unleash fury at the woman who had disrespected her mother. Patrons, first stunned by Layla's entrance, now watched with bated breath, their privileged world forgotten in the magnetic pull of the moment. The glittering displays, once symbols of aspiration, now seemed to mock the scene, emphasizing the gap between true worth and surface sheen. Samira missed the terrifying shift in Layla's posture, the jaw tightening, the dark eyes flaring with promised retribution. The scent of oud, usually comforting, hung heavy with apprehension. Layla's composed exterior barely contained the storm beneath, a monument to resilience refusing to be diminished. The manager's pallor deepened, her earlier confidence faltered as Layla's conviction began to shatter the illusion of control. Every subtle motion of Layla communicated an unwavering certainty, a promise of uncompromising reckoning. A nearby grandfather clock chimed with ominous resonance, marking the approach of inevitable confrontation. Other customers exchanged nervous glances, their amusement curdling into unease as they sensed a profound reordering of power. This was not about a kaftan or a single slight. It was an assertion of a deeper truth, strength forged not in gold or privilege, but in the unyielding heart of a desert rose. Layla's formidable presence stood ready to defend her mother's dignity against anyone who dared challenge it. The air, heavy with the aroma of imminent change, promised a future altered for all who bore witness to this silent battle of wills. The air, thick with oud and dread, tightened as Layla's controlled breath exhaled, a prelude to the storm within her, promising an inevitable downpour of truth. Her dark eyes, portals to an unyielding will, intensified their hold on Omar, whose frantic gaze sought solace in the glittering, increasingly irrelevant displays of the Jewel of the Sands. Every polished surface reflected his escalating terror, stripping his cultivated facade of authority and exposing the vulnerable man beneath. Other patrons, initially captivated, grew unnerved. Their detachment gave way to a visceral understanding that the rules of their opulent world were being rewritten before their eyes. They exchanged nervous glances, whispered judgments, replaced by a suffocating silence that thrummed with anticipation, a witness to a seismic reordering of power, more significant than any transaction. Fatima, a serene oasis amid rising tension, watched her daughter with quiet pride that warmed her core. She saw in Layla's resolve the culmination of generations of resilience, a fierce love from humble desert roots poised to confront the superficiality that had dismissed their worth. The faint tremor at Layla's lips, a hint of a smile, was the only sign of the inner maelstrom, a promise that her mother's quiet strength had blossomed into unassailable power, proving dignity is not woven with gold, but forged in the heart's fire. This was not merely about a forgotten kaftan or a single slight. It was asserting a fundamental truth that echoed through the halls. Layla took a deliberate step forward. The rhythmic click of her heels punctuated the stillness, each sound carrying authority that left no room for doubt or defiance. Her voice, when it broke the silence, was not a shout, but a low, resonant current with chilling precision, cutting the opulent air like a blade. It bore no overt aggression, yet its quiet power was more potent than any shout, holding Omar captive. The manager, face a sickly white, felt the crushing weight of her words, each syllable a strike against his crumbling arrogance and entitlement. He stammered, but words caught in his parched throat, choked by Layla's conviction and force of will. The grandfather clock, usually a comforting accent, tolled ominously, each tick marking the passage toward a deserved reckoning. The displays of jewels and gold, once symbols of his power, dimmed, overshadowed by the radiant intensity of Layla's resolve, a beacon of truth in a landscape of artifice. The world, with its theaters of power and subtle cruelties, was about to witness a different strength, forged not in gold or privilege, but in the unyielding heart of a desert rose. Layla's gaze, like a falcon, swept over the remnants of Omar's confidence, dissecting his raw fear with predatory clarity. She was the architect of a new order, where character was the true oasis in the barren desert of ambition. The air, heavy with the aroma of imminent change, promised a future altered for all who witnessed it. Her quiet power had transformed their reality. The manager, sensing the unspoken challenge, shifted his weight, a bead of sweat tracing a path down his temple. His earlier arrogance now completely evaporated under the intensity of Layla's unwavering stare. Layla's voice, when it finally broke the silence, was a low, controlled current, cutting through the opulent air with the precision of a sharpened blade. It held no outward tremor of anger, only a chilling certainty that commanded absolute attention. Every syllable was imbued with an authority that left no room for doubt or rebuttal. Her gaze never left the manager, pinning him in place as effectively as any physical restraint, and the careful composure she maintained only amplified the formidable power she wielded. The carefully curated perfection of the boutique seemed to waver, its glittering facade momentarily dimmed by the sheer force of her presence. The other customers, once whispering their judgments, now held their breath, caught in the magnetic pull of the unfolding drama, their own privileged worlds momentarily forgotten. Fatima, observing her daughter, felt a familiar surge of pride, a quiet strength echoing through her veins, a testament to the unyielding bond between them. She knew that Layla was not just defending her, but defending a principle, a deeply held belief in respect and human dignity that transcended the superficial trappings of wealth. The manager, visibly paling, attempted to stammer a response, but the words caught in his throat, choked by the sudden, suffocating pressure of Layla's unwavering resolve. The air, thick with unspoken tensions, pulsed with an electric charge, each passing second amplifying the weight of the confrontation. The luxury goods, once the focus of attention, now merely served as a backdrop to a more profound display of human will. A silent battle waged not with swords, but with an unshakable sense of justice. A subtle twitch at the corner of Layla's mouth, a mere hint of a smile, was the only outward sign of the inner storm brewing, a silent promise of the reckoning to come. The manager's eyes darted around searching for an escape, but found none. Trapped within the unwavering intensity of Layla's gaze, a gaze that stripped away all pretense and exposed the raw vulnerability beneath his veneer of authority. The silence deepened, becoming a heavy shroud, pressing down on all who witnessed the scene, a palpable anticipation for what Layla's next, decisive move would be. A tense stillness descended upon the opulent boutique, the kind that precedes an inevitable shift in atmosphere, solidifying the unspoken judgment. Patrons, previously immersed in their exclusive world of shimmering displays, now openly observed, their hushed whispers replaced by a palpable current of discomfort. A woman whose platinum hair gleamed under the crystal chandelier and whose haute couture abaya rustled with every subtle movement, leaned conspiratorially towards a companion, her voice just loud enough to carry through the polished space. "Really, anyone can just walk in here these days," she murmured, a dismissive wave of her hand encompassing Fatima's quiet dignity. Fatima felt a warm flush creep up her neck, her cheeks burning with an unfamiliar shame, yet her posture remained unbroken, a testament to an inner resilience honed over decades. Her heart, a steady drumbeat of purpose, transcended the dismissive glances, anchoring her to the singular reason she endured this hostile luxury. Layla. The heavy silence, previously confined to their small exchange, now stretched, permeating the opulent air of the boutique, drawing the attention of other well-heeled patrons. Their hushed conversations faltered, their eyes, previously gliding over glittering displays, now settled on Fatima with unconcealed judgment. Adorned in silks and fine jewels, these women, accustomed to a world of curated exclusivity, paused their elegant shopping, their disapproval a tangible chill in the perfumed air. A woman, her haute couture abaya, rustling with a deliberate elegance, leaned towards her companion, her voice a distinct murmur that carried beyond their immediate circle. "Truly, anyone enters here nowadays." The words, though seemingly a casual observation, were a deliberate barb, a calculated dismissal that pricked at Fatima's ears and sent a swift flush of shame burning across her cheeks. Yet even as the heat of humiliation rose, an unyielding core within her remained undisturbed, her posture unwavering, her spirit firm against the tide of unspoken scorn. The sting of shame, a familiar heat, touched Fatima's cheeks as the murmurs swirled around her, sharp and disapproving. Yet a deep, unwavering resolve settled within, a bedrock of quiet dignity unyielding to the superficial disdain that sought to diminish her. Decades had passed in the grand, echoing halls of wealthy homes, where her presence was merely a shadow, her tireless efforts rendered invisible. She had existed as a silent fixture, serving, cleaning, her quiet grace a stark contrast to the opulence she maintained. Each polished marble floor, every crystal that gleamed under her care, bore witness to a life lived in the background, her own aspirations folded neatly away. But this particular moment in the opulent boutique held a profound difference. This confrontation was not about her simple jilbab, nor the thinly veiled scorn of these privileged patrons. Her purpose here was singular, a steadfast anchor in the face of judgment. She was present not for her own fleeting comfort, but for Layla, her extraordinary daughter, whose remarkable achievements had blossomed from the very seeds of Fatima's unyielding hope. Every dismissive glance, every hushed whisper, only served to deepen her conviction, rooting her more firmly in the quiet certainty that Layla's triumph was a testament to a different kind of wealth, one forged in strength of character and the boundless reach of a mother's enduring love. The fleeting blush of humiliation quickly gave way to a profound inner calm, an ancient wisdom that understood true dignity resided far beyond the glittering facade of material possessions. She felt the imminent arrival of Layla, a beacon of warmth in the chilled luxury of the boutique, promising a dawn where her daughter's light would illuminate their shared journey, transforming every past slight into a prelude for an undeniable celebration of inherent worth. Her spirit, a resilient desert rose, had not only weathered the arid seasons of her life, but had found a way to bloom, its delicate strength now protected within the shimmering yet fragile glass dome of her daughter's formidable success. This was her truth, her silent power, a narrative etched not in gold, but in the heart's unyielding fire. A subtle shift in her posture, born of an inner light, guided Fatima's gaze past the condescending patrons and the shimmering gold displays to a captivating window. There, under crystal chandeliers, hung an array of designer caftans. Each garment, flowing silk and fine embroidery, held a silent allure. Its colors and details whispered promises of elegance and quiet power. She imagined Layla, her daughter, wearing one of them, radiant proof of the success they had sacrificed for. Her steps, deliberate and purposeful, drew her nearer, an unspoken question forming on her lips, anticipation rising. Zara, rigid with practiced contempt, slid up beside her like a shadow. A dramatic sigh, glossy and theatrical, escaped the saleswoman. "My dear woman, Zara said, saccharine voice failing to warm her cold eyes. Those pieces are highly exclusive, rare, imported, and unique. They rarely, if ever, fall below 15,000 rials. Truly priceless, reserved for a select, discerning clientele, not for mere admiration. A dismissive wave of a manicured hand punctuated the warning, an attempt to usher Fatima away from what she deemed unattainable. Fatima remained unyielding, her quiet determination an anchor against Zara's snobbery. Her gaze stayed on the caftans, resolve intact. Just as Zara, irritated by Fatima's persistence, prepared another barb, Fatima's phone vibrated. Clutched almost unconsciously, it lit with an unexpected message. A small inner smile touched her lips as she read, "Mother, I'm arriving. Can't wait to see you." Layla's direct, affectionate words resonated like a warm beacon. The text dissolved the boutique's cold formalities and subtle cruelty. The opulent surroundings, glittering facades, hushed whispers, and superficial judgments fell away, eclipsed by the certainty of her daughter's near arrival. The promise of reunion transformed the grand space into a mere backdrop for something far more vital. Fatima tightened her grip on the phone, eyes gleaming with fierce expectation. Her heart swelled with renewed purpose. The long waiting was almost over. With Layla's coming, a new chapter of dignity and true power was about to unfold. The chandelier's light, once a mocking glare, seemed to gather around her, no longer excluding but illuminating her steadfast resolve and the radiant truth of her spirit, preparing the way for her daughter's transformative light. A subtle, knowing smile touched Fatima's lips. A quiet surge of pride swelled within her as she considered how quickly these dismissive attitudes would dissolve. If only these individuals grasped the true magnitude of Layla's global success as a tech visionary. Samira, with a curt gesture, directed her towards a less than inviting chair tucked away in a corner, an act of thinly veiled contempt. Fatima moved with unhurried grace, settling into the uncomfortable seat, her posture a testament to the quiet strength of one who understood that genuine justice, much like the radiant golden skyline at sunset, always finds its moment to illuminate the world. The hushed environment of the boutique, thick with the scent of expensive perfumes and unspoken judgments, began to blur as her thoughts drifted, pulling her back across 4 decades, to a time 43 years in the past. Her gaze, however, remained fixed on the entrance, a silent promise held in the depths of her eyes, a testament to the unshakable bond she shared with her remarkable daughter. The unyielding conviction in Layla's gaze, a force promising reckoning, held echoes of an older promise, a quiet dream woven into time. 43 years before this poised justice, in a world far from gilded boutiques and polished scorn, a 19-year-old Fatima sat beside her beloved Khalid. Their humble home, though small, radiated a warmth no palace could match, scented with the woody, resinous perfume of an Arabian oud diffuser. Fatima, hands resting over the gentle swell of her belly, felt nascent life stir. Khalid, face alight with wonder, tenderly cupped her hands. His touch was reassurance, his voice a soft murmur brimming with fierce, protective love. "She will have everything, my dear Fatima," he whispered, eyes fixed on a future only he could fully see. Not fleeting riches, he painted, but profound opportunities. A life unburdened by daily struggle, a mind alight with knowledge, doors open where theirs had been closed. The oud's scent deepened, a silent witness to whispered prayers for a brighter dawn. Khalid envisioned Layla soaring beyond their walls, a falcon of the desert, reaching heights they only dared to imagine. Fatima, long used to quiet hardship, felt buoyant hope swell. His dreams became hers, a sacred pact in their small dwelling. Their conversations stitched another layer each night into the imagined tapestry of Layla's future. Khalid, a man of simple trades and deep conviction, insisted education would be the light to guide her. He spoke of untold books and indispensable skills that would ensure her autonomy. "She will not know want, Fatima," he repeated, stroking her hair, a promise in every strand. The oil lamp cast flickering shadows on mud brick walls, the outside world muted by their protective bubble of love and hope. Fatima saw in his vision not naivete, but wisdom, true wealth as freedom to choose one's destiny. The oud lingered, a constant reminder of promises made, promises that would in time fold into reality. They could not yet know the intricate path Layla would forge, the silent battles she would wage, or the profound justice she would deliver. Rooted in these quiet moments of love and aspiration, their dreams were destined to bloom into a legacy of respect and undeniable triumph. The subtle tremor at Layla's lips, a whisper of a smile, echoed a promise forged not in diamonds, but in the crucible of loss and resolve. For a fleeting instant, the jewel of the sands receded, its polished floors and jewels blurred into the faded colors of a humble home, a distant canvas of her earliest years. The present confrontation, the silent call for justice, yielded to the memory of a world altered when she was 2. The sudden darkness of Khalid's death in a merciless accident. His absence was a gaping wound. Fatima, 21 and newly widowed, found herself adrift in unbearable grief. Yet from that darkness, a seed of fierce determination stirred. Fatima did not yield to despair. She let pain temper her spirit into something indomitable. From sorrow emerged an unwavering resolve, resilient as a desert bloom in harsh soil. Looking into Layla's wide eyes, she saw Khalid's gentle spirit and the nascent promise of a future they would build together. In that sacred moment, a silent pact was sealed between mother and child, reaching beyond their pain toward shared dreams and hope. Fatima vowed they would work tirelessly, hand in hand, to fulfill Khalid's aspirations. Her commitment sprang from abiding love and an unbreakable will, a pledge to craft a life of opportunity, security, and dignity for Layla, regardless of the obstacles. The harsh realities they faced did not deter her. They became fuel for her dedication. Every quiet tear testified to love beyond death. Every small sacrifice was a stone in the foundation of Layla's future, evidence of a mother's fierce devotion. With a strength that belied her youth, Fatima became an architect of hope, planning each step, guided by Khalid's dreams and by the potential she saw in her daughter. She understood that their true legacy lay not in what was lost, but in what they would build, stone by tenacious stone, in the unforgiving desert of their reality. The world might view them as vulnerable, a young widow and her child, but within their shared ambition, an unshakable force gathered, ready to challenge what was thought possible for a woman from humble beginnings. The subtle clink of Fatima's teacup, a note from a defining past, echoed in Layla's memory as a reminder of the quiet strength that shaped her, now poised to unleash a righteous storm on those who would dismiss it. Fatima, a silhouette against the stark, glittering opulence, still carried the echoes of past lives. Years she had dedicated herself to work as a domestic, her hands calloused not just from toil, but from the constant, invisible weight of condescension. Employers had treated her as a mere shadow, a functional entity meant to blend into the background, rarely acknowledged beyond the commands given. Yet, through it all, she meticulously managed her meager earnings, each dirham carefully allocated, a silent prayer whispered over its utility. The importance of education was a drumbeat in her soul, a relentless rhythm she imparted to Layla, emphasizing it with every saved coin, every sacrificed comfort. Layla, despite the humble clothes that marked her as different from her wealthier peers, consistently achieved top grades, her intellect a beacon in the quiet struggle of their lives. Her daughter's brilliance was Fatima's unwritten manifesto, a testament to the power of a mind nurtured with love and unwavering belief, rather than material abundance. The memories of those years, etched deep into Fatima's spirit, now served as a stark contrast to the unfolding drama, reminding her of the long, arduous path that had led Layla to this moment of undeniable power, transforming every past humiliation into a prelude for an undeniable celebration of worth that transcended the superficial judgment of those around them. A quiet strength, a sturdy desert bloom had endured, patiently waiting for this exact, profound convergence of past sacrifice and future triumph. The years of tireless devotion blossomed into undeniable fruit when Layla, at the tender age of 14, earned a full scholarship to a prestigious private school. This academic triumph, far from easing Fatima's burden, ignited a fresh surge of resolve within her, prompting her to embrace additional night shifts, the quiet hum of nocturnal offices becoming a familiar backdrop to her sacrifices. Layla, driven by an inherent intellectual curiosity, gravitated towards the rigorous logic of mathematics and the boundless possibilities of science, eventually choosing software engineering as her destined path. The weight of Fatima's unwavering support, her every extra hour of labor, her every whispered prayer, found its ultimate vindication when Layla, with a brilliance that shone like a desert star, secured a full scholarship to a revered university. Fatima's emotional relief, a profound release that rippled through her weary body, was palpable, a testament to the enduring power of her sacrifices, her silent battles, and her fierce, unyielding love. It was a victory not just for Layla, but for every hidden tear and every calloused hand that had paved the way. The dream, once a fragile seedling in the harsh desert, had finally taken root, growing into a magnificent tree whose branches reached for the heavens, a living monument to a mother's indomitable spirit and a daughter's boundless potential. The quiet pride that settled within Fatima was a warmth that permeated her very soul, a radiant glow that no hardship could ever dim. She knew, with a deep maternal certainty, that Layla's journey, though just beginning, was already a testament to the enduring truth, that true worth is forged not in gold, but in the heart's unwavering fire. Layla immersed herself in the demanding academic world of San Francisco, the golden skyline at sunset, a constant backdrop to her ambition. The first months were a whirlwind. Intensive study, research assistant roles by day, late nights in a bustling Arabic eatery, her English still tender. Every morning a call bridged continents. Layla's voice, often weary, a vital chord to Fatima. "How are you, my daughter?" Fatima would ask. "It's challenging, Mama, but I will prevail, inshallah," Layla replied, exhaustion carefully masked. During her master's, Layla conceived a groundbreaking algorithm for pattern recognition in complex datasets. Her professor, Dr. Al-Hashemi, was impressed. "Layla, this algorithm, mashallah, holds the potential to redefine the future of data intelligence," he said, scrutinizing her code. "Have you considered transforming this into an enterprise?" The idea seemed audacious, but his encouragement pushed her to enter a university startup competition. To many surprise, Layla won, securing initial investment and mentorship. Overwhelmed, she called Fatima, tears blurring her vision. "Mama, I won a competition. I can finally build my own company." Fatima, voice thick with joy, answered, "Mashallah, my daughter. Your father, Khalid, would have been so incredibly proud." In its early days, DataMind ran from a modest space she shared with fellow students. She poured 16-hour days into refining algorithms, coding, testing, driven by an unyielding vision. Her first client, a growing e-commerce platform, saw a 40% sales surge in the inaugural month. Word spread. Within 6 months, DataMind had a formidable waiting list. Layla scaled rapidly, hiring brilliant engineers, leasing a proper office, expanding at an astonishing pace. She rose before dawn to monitor global servers, spent days with American clients and evenings on European video conferences. "My daughter, are you taking care of yourself?" Fatima asked on their weekly calls. "I am, Mama. It's merely a phase," Layla reassured, glancing at her tired reflection. The lie a necessary shield. The defining moment came when Reem Al-Mansouri, an influential venture capitalist, requested a meeting. "Your metrics are profoundly impressive," Reem said, reviewing reports. "We intend to invest $5 million in DataMind." Layla felt disbelief. $5 million was unimaginable. "What percentage of the company do you envision taking?" she asked, striving for composure. 20%, Reem replied. "You will retain 80% and full control." That night, Layla called Fatima, weeping with cathartic release. "Mama, I did it. I truly did it." Fatima, steady and sure, answered, "I always knew, my daughter, always knew." With that investment, DataMind expanded explosively. Offices in global hubs, algorithms embedded in industry titans. Within 2 years, the company's valuation soared to $100 million. Layla moved to a penthouse with panoramic bay views, yet her work ethic remained as fervent as when she began. She knew the ephemeral nature of tech success. "You need to enjoy life a little more," urged Sarah, her closest friend and CMO. "You are incredibly wealthy, Layla. Indulge." But Layla's thoughts circled her work, and above all, her mother. Month by month, she gently tried to persuade Fatima to come to the United States. "Mama, I can buy a magnificent home for you here, with a lush garden, a shimmering pool." Fatima, with her gentle smile, replied steadfastly, My daughter, I find contentment in my humble abode. I have my beloved neighbors, my small garden, my friends from the mosque. I have no need for opulence to find happiness." Layla respected her mother's resolve and continued sending substantial support, aware that Fatima, ever a pearl on velvet, saved almost every rial, preserving the beautiful simplicity of her life. Her core values remained unchanged by the dazzling light of Layla's prosperity. The raw power emanating from her daughter, deeper than any display of wealth, settled over Fatima like a warm shroud of vindication. Layla's fierce presence now dominated the boutique, drawing every eye and commanding silence, while Fatima's quiet determination remained an unyielding bedrock beneath the tension. She had come for one reason: Layla's award ceremony, the culmination of decades of tireless effort, a victory for her daughter, and every hidden sacrifice Fatima had made. A brief vibration from her hand, easily dismissed by onlookers, confirmed Layla's proximity, a digital whisper of loyalty cutting the quiet. Fatima felt a discreet smile touch her lips, a calm settling as she anticipated the impending reckoning for the casual disdain she had endured since stepping through these gilded doors. Her gaze swept the displays of diamonds and gold filigree, now stripped of their allure, mere glittering distractions against the human drama unfolding. Each cut facet reflected the hollowness of the judgment she had faced, a stark contrast to the worth she carried within herself and, more powerfully, within her daughter. The hush, once heavy with exclusive disdain, now thrummed with a different energy, an electric expectation of truth about to be revealed. Fatima's heart, forged in the desert, pulsed with a rhythm that transcended the boutique's superficiality, echoing Layla's will. The subtle shift in the air, a palpable reordering even the oblivious patrons felt, signaled an inevitable transformation, when perceived power would tip toward genuine dignity. She recalled with serene clarity the countless moments of being overlooked, her presence deemed inconsequential by those who equated value with ostentation and inherited privilege. Here, amid this shimmering testament to fleeting wealth, that narrative was being rewritten, not with shouts, but with the quiet authority of her daughter's conviction. The faint scent of expensive oud, once comforting, now carried an undertone of apprehension, a premonition of change for those who had lived in unchallenged privilege. Fatima's eyes, soft yet resolute, held a depth that spanned generations, a testament to women who forged strength in adversity. Layla's approach was both physical and deeply symbolic, a beacon of uncompromising truth challenging prejudice and arrogance. The silent, almost telepathic bond between mother and daughter, shared dreams, quiet understanding, mutual respect, vibrated through the halls, an unspoken promise of collective vindication. This was more than an award. It was a consecration of spirit, a defiant triumph echoing from desert sands to the gleaming towers of ambition. The air thickened with unasked questions as onlookers realized they were witnessing a turning point, true worth asserting itself over fleeting status. Fatima's resolve, quiet but fierce, remained unbroken, a testament to a mother's love that had turned decades of humiliation into the prelude of a meaningful celebration of dignity. A profound peace enveloped her, an acknowledgement of the strength that had guided them, a deep knowing that recognition had arrived. The promise of justice, long a whispered hope, felt palpably close, ready to reshape their reality and redefine power within these walls. The boutique's hushed grandeur, once a source of discomfort, had become the silent stage for an imminent, satisfying retribution. Layla's gaze, unwavering and cool, finally released Omar, not in a gesture of dismissal, but rather an invitation for him to confront the enormity of his misjudgment. Her quiet authority, far from fading, seemed to expand, filling the opulent space until the glittering displays and hushed whispers of the elite felt utterly inconsequential against the backdrop of her formidable presence. He stood before her, a man diminished, his carefully tailored suit now merely an empty shell, his earlier arrogance replaced by a profound, suffocating dread. The truth, when it finally emerged from Layla's lips, was not a crescendo of fury, but a precise, surgical articulation of undeniable fact, each word imbued with the weight of an empire built from the ground up, brick by meticulously placed brick. She spoke not of personal offense, but of a systemic disrespect, a pervasive blindness to inherent worth that transcended the price tags and polished facades of their world. Omar's attempts to stammer a response were futile, his voice a pathetic croak, swallowed by the profound silence that Layla's words had conjured. He felt trapped, pinned not by physical force, but by the undeniable strength of her conviction, a power rooted in something far more enduring than transient wealth or inherited privilege. The other patrons, initially spectators, now shifted in their seats, their comfortable detachment eroding under the palpable weight of the unfolding revelation. They began to grasp the true identity of the woman before them, recognizing the architect of a sprawling technological oasis, a visionary who had reshaped industries and challenged preconceived notions of success. This was not merely a wealthy customer demanding service. This was Layla, the force behind the innovative tech ventures that now seamlessly integrated into their daily lives, a name whispered with awe in boardrooms across the globe. Her journey, a testament to relentless innovation and an unyielding spirit, had transformed the arid landscape of expectation into a vibrant ecosystem of possibility. Omar, his face now a sickly shade of ash, felt the full force of her reputation, a silent, powerful wave that swept away his last vestiges of defiance. He understood, with a dawning and terrifying clarity, that he had not merely offended a woman, but had insulted a legacy, a living testament to the very principles of progress and meritocracy he had so cavalierly dismissed. The delicate chime of the boutique's grandfather clock, once a soft, comforting accent, now tolled with an ominous resonance, each tick marking the passage toward an inevitable, thoroughly deserved reckoning. Layla, her eyes holding the depth of the desert sky at dusk, allowed a subtle, almost imperceptible tremor of satisfaction to cross her lips, a silent promise that the seeds of her mother's quiet strength had indeed blossomed into an unassailable power, one that would now reshape the very foundations of their gilded world. The air, heavy with the scent of expensive oud, now also carried the subtle, undeniable aroma of imminent change. Dadamine's initial momentum transformed into an unstoppable force, a whirlwind of innovation that swept through the tech world, attracting the eager eyes and substantial capital of industry titans. A crucial infusion arrived from the astute Rebecca Martinez, whose $5 million investment didn't just add zeros to the ledger, but rocketed the company into a stratospheric orbit of global recognition. Layla, the architect of this burgeoning empire, navigated its rapid ascent with unyielding focus, her nights and days blurring into a singular pursuit of expansion. Her relentless dedication bore fruit in the form of international offices, sprawling across continents like glittering jewels in the desert of digital innovation. The pinnacle of this relentless drive manifested in a monumental acquisition offer, a colossal bid from a multinational tech giant, an offer that didn't just solidify her fortune, but cemented her legendary status. In boardrooms and whispered conversations across the globe, she became known as a falcon with diamond ring, a symbol of discerning power and undeniable value, a woman who soared to unimaginable heights without ever losing sight of the precious essence that fueled her ascent. This new identity, however, carried with it a quiet weight, a silent reminder of the journey from humble beginnings to the glittering zenith of her profession, a path paved with countless hours of unwavering effort and the unshakable foundation laid by her mother's enduring strength. Her presence, even in the abstract, was becoming a force, a reputation preceding her, a testament to the unassailable power she wielded, rooted in something far more enduring than transient wealth or inherited privilege. The very air around her, thick with the scent of expensive oud and palpable anticipation, now also carried the subtle, undeniable aroma of imminent change, a promise that the seeds of her mother's quiet strength had indeed blossomed into an unassailable power, one that would now reshape the very foundations of their gilded world. The dust of the marketplace had long settled from Layla's shoes, replaced now by the polished gleam of boardrooms and the hushed carpets of global financial hubs. Yet the echo of her mother, Fatima, resonated within her, a constant, guiding melody. Dignity, Fatima had often whispered, her voice like a bomb, is not woven with threads of gold, but forged in the crucible of the heart's unwavering fire. This profound truth became Layla's unyielding anchor in the swirling currents of unprecedented success. When the moment arrived for the colossal acquisition, a monumental shift in her empire's trajectory, Layla approached it not with the avarice of a conqueror, but with the measured resolve of a guardian. She assented to the terms, her keen mind ensuring that while the financial landscape of her company expanded exponentially, her strategic autonomy remained uncompromised, a core principle she refused to relinquish. The negotiation was a delicate dance between ambition and preservation, one Layla mastered with quiet, formidable grace. With the stroke of a pen, Layla ascended to a pinnacle few in her nation had ever touched, her name whispered among the country's wealthiest, a testament to her vision and relentless effort. The sheer scale of her influence now stretched across continents, demanding her presence in distant capitals, forging alliances, and overseeing vast, intricate operations. Her world became a tapestry of fleeting impressions, airport lounges blurring into foreign cityscapes, urgent teleconferences blurring into late-night strategizing. These expansive new responsibilities, while exhilarating in their scope, inevitably carved deep fissures in her personal life. The familiar comfort of home, the vibrant energy of her community, became precious, increasingly rare luxuries, accessible only during brief, often whirlwind visits that left her heart aching for more sustained connection. Despite the dizzying heights of her global achievements and the ever-present pull of her burgeoning empire, Layla's intrinsic compass remained steadfastly oriented towards a single, overarching aspiration. Her paramount objective, the quiet fire that fueled her tireless pursuit of greatness, was to publicly honor the woman who had instilled in her every foundational virtue, her mother. Layla envisioned a legacy far beyond mere financial metrics, a powerful transformation of her immense prosperity into a deeply felt, tangible expression of gratitude. Her success, therefore, was not merely an accumulation of wealth, but a powerful instrument, a means to an end, intended to illuminate the memory of Fatima and uplift the very community that had shaped them both. She saw her power not as an end in itself, but as a vessel for profound and lasting homage, a living testament to a mother's enduring spirit. The path ahead was clear, though arduous, demanding not just capital, but profound personal investment and a fierce determination to translate abstract appreciation into concrete, life-altering impact for others. The blueprint for this grand gesture began to coalesce in her mind, a monumental undertaking that promised to be her most meaningful achievement yet. The air, thick with awe and dread, tightened as Layla's controlled breath exhaled, a prelude to the storm within her, promising an inevitable downpour of truth. Her dark eyes, portals to an unyielding will, intensified their hold on Omar, whose frantic gaze sought solace in the glittering, increasingly irrelevant displays of the Jewel of the Sands. Every polished surface reflected his escalating terror, stripping his cultivated facade of authority and exposing the vulnerable man beneath. Other patrons, initially captivated, grew unnerved. Their detachment gave way to a visceral understanding that the rules of their opulent world were being rewritten before their eyes. They exchanged nervous glances, whispered judgments, replaced by a suffocating silence that thrummed with anticipation, a witness to a seismic reordering of power, more significant than any transaction. Fatima, a serene oasis amid rising tension, watched her daughter with quiet pride that warmed her core. She saw in Layla's resolve the culmination of generations of resilience, a fierce love from humble desert roots poised to confront the superficiality that had dismissed their worth. The faint tremor at Layla's lips, a hint of a smile, was the only sign of the inner maelstrom, a promise that her mother's quiet strength had blossomed into unassailable power, proving dignity is not woven with gold, but forged in the heart's fire. This was not merely about a forgotten kaftan or a single slight. It was asserting a fundamental truth that echoed through the halls. Layla took a deliberate step forward. The rhythmic click of her heels punctuated the stillness, each sound carrying authority that left no room for doubt or defiance. Her voice, when it broke the silence, was not a shout, but a low, resonant current with chilling precision, cutting the opulent air like a blade. It bore no overt aggression, yet its quiet power was more potent than any shout, holding Omar captive. The manager, face a sickly white, felt the crushing weight of her words, each syllable a strike against his crumbling arrogance and entitlement. He stammered, but words caught in his parched throat, choked by Layla's conviction and force of will. The grandfather clock, usually a comforting accent, tolled ominously, each tick marking the passage toward a deserved reckoning. The displays of jewels and gold, once symbols of his power, dimmed, overshadowed by the radiant intensity of Layla's resolve, a beacon of truth in a landscape of artifice. The world, with its theaters of power and subtle cruelties, was about to witness a different strength, forged not in gold or privilege, but in the unyielding heart of a desert rose. Layla's gaze, like a falcon, swept over the remnants of Omar's confidence, dissecting his raw fear with predatory clarity. She was the architect of a new order, where character was the true oasis in the barren desert of ambition. The air, heavy with the aroma of imminent change, promised a future altered for all who witnessed it. Her quiet power had transformed their reality.